Will democracy survive in the next couple of years?
And essentially, we are the same.
And there are so many needs that Minnesota has.
What people are saying they need right now.
Access to democracy is made possible by donations from the following organizations. Thomson Reuters, a global company with expertise and insight to unravel complex situations in the areas of law, tax, compliance, government, and media. Their worldwide network of journalists and editors keep customers up to speed on relevant global events. Thomson Reuters, the Answer Company. Crutchfield Dermatology, a full-service treatment center in Medi-Spa in Eagan. Their goal is to help you look good and feel great with beautiful skin. With service built around courtesy, dignity, and respect, Mayo-trained Dr. Charles Crutchfield personally treats each patient and is acknowledged as one of the nation's best physicians. Firefly Credit Union, with locations throughout the Twin Cities, has proudly served Minnesotans since 1925. Firefly guides its members forward by delivering customized financial solutions to improve their lives in all aspects of banking. Firefly Credit Union, they light the way with life illuminated. Edina Eye, Physicians and Surgeons, a division of Twin Cities Eye Consultants, has proudly served the Twin Cities for more than 55 years. Now in 7 convenient locations. Using the most advanced technology combined with human touch, Edina Eye offers comprehensive services but dedicated specialists committed to excellence with innovative procedures and expertise for the most advanced eye care.
Welcome back. Access to Democracy back again with someone who's become a friend in the last 6-7 crazy months that we have endured in 2020. And it's Lieutenant Colonel Colin Fleming of the Minnesota National Guard. And actually, it's his first individual interview, although he had a lot to do with setting up General John Jensen, who has now moved on to greater exploits. So welcome.
Thank you. Great.
Give us a little background about yourself and family. And you mentioned before we went on that your daughter is going from one fort to another with your wife. So I take it she's in the service.
Yes. So she graduated from Texas Christian University last year and commissioned into the regular Army as an armor officer. So she's a tanker. So ended up in Fort Benning, Georgia, doing the armor officer course, their basic course. And now her first duty station is in Fort Bliss, Texas, with the 1st Armored Division.
And is she an officer or enlisted personnel?
Yep, she's an officer. She's a 2nd lieutenant.
Good for her. Any other family members in the service?
My dad was, and my father-in-law was. My dad was a career Air Force officer, and he was in for 32 years. And my father-in-law was a field artillery non-commissioned officer.
Now, you have the title of Director of Strategic Communications for the Minnesota National Guard. What does that entail?
Really a lot of different things. My overall responsibility is to develop under our Adjutant General's guidance the set of strategic criteria. So what we want to say and how we want to connect with the public in a number of different areas. So what we think of as the traditional media, public affairs, that group is part of my part of the organization. It also encompasses our government relations officer and that group. And so working to make sure that the congressional delegation, the governor's office, all understand what we're doing, and we understand what they're doing.
Now we have a new adjutant general here in Minnesota. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep. Yep, Major General Sean Mankey is the new Adjutant General.
And former Major General and now Lieutenant General John Jensen has moved on to head the National Guard of the entire country, and he's now in Washington, D.C. Is that correct?
Yes, the Army National Guard.
The Army National Guard.
Yeah.
Have you
Yeah,
been
so
in
he's
touch with him?
I'm sorry?
Have you been in touch with him lately, and how's he doing there?
I have. He came out for General Mankey's installation ceremony with which the governor hosted. I guess it's been a little over a month now, and he's doing very well, as we all kind of thought knew that he would. He's enjoying the job and the challenge, and trying to get up to speed on what all of the other states are doing instead of just focusing on one.
Well, you've had an interesting last couple of days because the governor had to mobilize some of the Minnesota National Guard when former police officer Chauvin was granted bail. As a matter of fact, I see that 51 people were arrested in demonstrations yesterday. So I guess your people were involved in that, right?
We were ready to support law enforcement agencies, and it's been I think this is the third or fourth time within the last couple months that we've had soldiers called up to duty to support either the Minneapolis police or the state patrol.
Well, we're living through really uncharted territory here. It's been a weird 7 or 8 months now between the pandemic and then the murder of George Floyd. So you people have found yourselves doing things that you wouldn't normally have anticipated during this period of time. I mean, it's not the usual floods, although fortunately we didn't have so many of those this year. But I know that the National Guard, which is, I just found out, is the 9th largest National Guard unit in the country, certainly stands ready to step in and help the civilians, as well as spending time overseas. Now, we have some Minnesota National Guard that are overseas right now. Isn't that correct?
Absolutely. And one of our larger units too is in the process of returning to the U.S. after an extended tour in Iraq and Kuwait. But in addition to them, our 2 of the 135 Infantry Battalion is in the Horn of Africa now, and this is the first time we've supported that particular mission. Things are going very well for them there. So
it's not just local, and
right.
We have talked about that with General Jensen. It could be just about anything, and it certainly has been. Interestingly enough, a judge just granted Officer Chauvin the right to move out of Minnesota today because apparently there have been threats. So he is now able to live unannounced in 3 adjoining states, and just the court will know where he is. So that probably won't affect you people as much as the last couple of nights have affected you on standby.
Right.
Now, in your career, did you do overseas service also?
Yes, I've been overseas quite a bit, and overseas in support of contingency operations. So what we consider as formal deployments twice. We refer to it as the long deployment in 2006, 2007. We spent 14 months in Iraq, and then just last July came back from a a Middle Eastern deployment where we were headquartered in Kuwait, but I was very fortunate in being able to travel all around the Middle East and work with lots of different countries. And in the years before that, spent some time in Europe and also quite a bit of time in Taiwan and Japan.
So one might say, join the National Guard and see the world.
Yes,
Certainly in your case.
absolutely.
Trace us your path from the time you joined the National Guard up till, I know, you just got your latest promotion.
Let's see, I started out I had been in the Army and the Army Reserve as an enlisted engineer officer, and had left the service, got married, and finished my undergraduate degree at the University of Colorado. My wife and I moved out here in '95 and started working at Nordic Track, and a friend of mine started talking to me about the National Guard, and I said, well, that was kind of in my past, and he talked to me about it a little more, and we went to officer candidate school together, and commissioned. I was originally an air defense artillery officer, and had a number of opportunities there, battery command, did some travel, and ended up becoming a military intelligence officer. And on the full-time side, have done a variety. I was at St. John's University as the assistant professor of military science for a couple years, and the director of family programs for a couple years, and most recently the director of intelligence for the 34th Infantry Division, and then on to this assignment.
Now, the 34th Infantry is well known as the Red Bulls, and it's a very well-known and highly respected segment of the Minnesota National Guard, but it's not the only one. There are other divisions of the Guard. So why don't you tell us about them?
Let's see, the division headquarters, there are 8 total. The Indiana, New York, Pennsylvania, Texas, California, and I am leaving somebody somebody out, but they have division headquarters. And one of Lieutenant General Jensen's initiatives that General Hokanson before him started was to align all of the combat and combat support units in the National Guard underneath these 8 divisions to give the Army a total of 18 divisions.
Well, here in Minnesota, which seems to me to do more overseas duty than some of the other divisions of the National Guard, from what I've been reading. I know you have the 1st Armored Brigade, you have the Combat Aviation Group, and as well as the Red Bulls.
Yeah, so the Aviation Brigade is they're the ones that are just returning from Iraq and supporting U.S. Central Command. They got extended due to COVID travel restrictions, and the unit that was replacing them not being able to get to the training site due to COVID in time to be ready to replace them. So they ended up staying an additional month or 2 there, but they're starting to get home now, which we're really excited about. And then the 1st Armor Brigade, which is headquartered in Bloomington and commanded by Colonel Tim Kemp, is getting ready to deploy early next year as well. So yeah, we do stay quite busy.
And of course, if you are a civilian and then you have joined the National Guard, you know, locally you see them handle floods and national or natural disasters, things like that. You don't necessarily think of them as actually fighting the nation's wars, and yet on a moment's notice, you can be notified that you've been activated and have to be prepared to go.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's challenging, not just on the soldiers and leaders of the unit, but extremely challenging for the families. I think on the long deployment, my daughter was just finishing up second grade, and by the time all the training was done and the deployment was extended and all of that, she was getting ready to start fifth grade when I got back. So it's definitely tough, but we've got some amazing soldiers in Minnesota.
But that's a long chunk of time to be separated from family.
Very much so.
And,
Absolutely.
And you just never know how long it's going to be and where you're going to be stationed.
True.
So,
you know, it was really interesting, the contrast between that deployment and this regarding technology and the ability to stay connected to families. This time around, it was significantly, it's still difficult, but significantly easier to communicate with family members on a regular basis.
and you miss all those big days. You miss the birthdays, you miss the holidays,
Right.
you miss the anniversaries. And it's a whole different way of life that I guess you get used to. And
Right. Well, my daughter graduated from TCU, so graduated from college. I was in Kuwait, and due to, well, on a Zoom call exactly like this one, I administered the oath of office to her, and TCU had set up the auditorium with the big screen, and she was facing a laptop on her end, and me and some of my closest friends were on our end, and it was quite an emotional event.
I would think so, yeah. Yeah, I just had a fly buzz me. I'm not sure, but I think it might be the same one that landed on Vice President Pence the other night.
Right.
So we'll have to keep an eye on him.
Right.
Don't want him on my head for 2 minutes. Now, Camp Ripley is something that we hear about and we read about, and I understand it's a big sprawling area with a lot of training facilities. So tell us a little bit about that.
It is really an amazing place, and we are very fortunate to not only to have the facility, but to have the support of the communities surrounding it, including Little Falls and Randall, and it's roughly 55,000 acres, and in addition to the ability to house soldiers and Marines and all the different groups that can come there to train. It's, being in Minnesota, obviously, one of the premier winter training facilities that is available anywhere in the Army. And the Army does quite a bit of equipment testing to ensure that the equipment withstands the rigors, but they have the ability to do training for field artillery ranges. They do airborne training. They have a landing strip up there that where the C-130s come in and out, and so the 133rd Airlift Wing flies up there quite a bit.
So I don't think people realize how large a facility it is, and the different areas that can train there, and the equipment that's up there, and the fact that it has its own airfield.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and ever evolving. For I think within the last 15 years, they're standing up new ranges to mounted live fire ranges, so to terrain units on protecting themselves when driving in convoys, which is an extremely complex activity. And so every year it seems like there's new infrastructure and new initiatives up there, in addition to all of the environmental projects up there. I think they're on pace. I'll get the date wrong, but to be energy neutral, I want to say within the next 10 years. They have a giant solar farm and are looking at. It's a great platform to be able to see, what can be done in those essentially a closed environment.
Now, you really, as National Guard, you are really real Army. This is no joking around. These are the people that defend us and defend our country. What happens, or what do you think of these alleged militia people that are floating around, that walking around with automatic weapons? And I mean, to me, they pose a present danger. I certainly respect the Second Amendment, but to see all these people showing up, and of course, yesterday we have this alleged attempt to kidnap a governor, which is absolutely beyond the pale as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that would be concerning. I know from the National Guard perspective, we go through extensive training, really all the same training and qualifications for the active Army, and the same thing for the Air National Guard. The standards and the training available are the same, because our mission is so specific and so serious when we're deployed. And then, of course, most of the civil disturbance training and our roles supporting civil authorities also take a great deal of time and preparation.
As opposed to people who just are running around intimidating people with guns, kind of loosely organized or completely disorganized. And you don't have to comment on that, but that's my editorial comment on it. And one of the things that people may not know about the National Guard, and I think there's 14,000 National Guards personnel here in Minnesota, is that you help people get an education. And I think that would probably, I don't think it's widely known, but I think that would probably be an incentive for people to join, especially, education is so important in this country at this time. So talk to that if you don't mind.
No, absolutely. It's a great benefit, not only in joining, but in continued membership. I've let's see, using the benefits that we've had. Well, my daughter paid for her education fully through Army incentives. We paid for my wife's master's in marriage and family therapy, also using benefits of membership. And I still have some months left, so I'm considering pursuing another master's. And when you look at the average debt of people coming out of their undergraduate or graduate degrees, it's definitely more than I paid for my house. And this is really a great, in addition to the experience you gain, and for me particularly the camaraderie, it's definitely a great benefit.
And it's an incentive for people to join, especially when facing these mounting costs. And
Absolutely.
it's also a way of giving back to the country that has given so much to us. And I'm 86. Do you think I'm too old to join up?
I'm sure there's a waiver. Well,
Well, we can pursue that.
sure.
I'll show up with my cane and and away we go.
Absolutely.
Actually, I've taken a course here with the Egan Police, and Sharon, who's sitting over here, has taken not only the Egan Police Citizens Academy course, but she's taken the advanced course, and she's taken the course with the Dakota County Sheriff as well. So
Great.
I just say yes, sir, and no, sir to her, and that seems to work. You've been an instructor or a professor also as an adjunct to one of the colleges, right?
Yes, St. John's University. And so I spent almost 2 years doing that before the long deployment, and that was a great experience, tremendously rewarding job working with new college students and people brand new to the military, to not only teach and work with them on an introduction to what it means to be in the Army, but what it means to be an American. What are the foundations of our society, and how are we as a military always subordinate to the elected civilian authorities.
And that's also an interesting observation, because the regular Army, contrary to attempts of politicians to get it involved, is not involved in domestic matters. And that's the whole concept of this nation from its very beginning, is that the Army is to protect us basically from threats foreign and overseas, but not here. But the National Guard, as a peacekeeper, can be called in, and as frequently as we have seen happen, not only here, but in Portland and in other places, in Kentucky and other places around the country over the last few months. I think exacerbated to some degree by what the people are feeling in terms of the COVID, in terms of pandemic, which has made a lot of things much more uptight. So,
Absolutely.
as we have reached really the last minute of this already, is there anything in particular you would like to impart to the 34 cities that carry us, and that'll be on YouTube?
I think that, and specifically within Minnesota, I cannot overstate the tremendous amount of support and really love that we receive on a regular basis from the citizens of Minnesota. And I don't, having been all over the country and all over the world with the Army, don't ever take that for granted. It is amazing, and telling people from other states and other countries how Minnesota treats us as an organization is one of the great pleasures of my job.
Minnesota nice is more than a statement. Minnesota nice is a reality, and I concur in that. And sounds like you're going to be a Minnesotan for a long time to come.
But I will always.
We've been talking with Lieutenant Colonel Colin Fleming of the Minnesota National Guard, and I thank you very much. I thank you for all the help you gave me in setting up the interviews with General Jensen, and hope to see you again. Thanks so much for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for the opportunity.